Hello. Hi, Allie. Long time no see. You too, Autumn. So fun seeing you guys today. Made my day. Can't even begin to explain how much you've made my day. Tori, way to dress it up already. Looking good, girl. Hey, Riley. It looks like Caroline has stepped away. Hi, Steph. Hi, Hannah. And it looks like Anna is not here. There's Audrey. Audrey, so nice to see you again. I'm so glad you're coming. Shale, awesome to see you again, my dear.
Hey, Miss Etter.
Hi, Pumpkin. MJ.
Miss Etter, did you understand the cartoon?
I missed
The political cartoon.
Oh, a cartoon. I have my Bill into a Law shirt. Is that what you're referring to, Renato? MJ, I'm so happy to see you. Thanks for showing up.
No, I emailed you. I've been practicing analytical cartoons.
You have? Ooh.
Of course.
Okay, I'll check my email. I'm so sorry. I'll be honest, I haven't checked it today. I know, school day. Bad Etter. Bad. Let me do my rounds. Hi, Sydney. How are you, my dear? You're going to have to play some music for me one day, honey. Hey, Casey. How are you? So good to see you. Oh, yay, Lauren came back. I'm so glad. MJ, bring back your camera. Makes me happier to see you guys. Thank you, Pumpkin. Yay, and there's Shank. And Renata, we've already greeted each other. Harper is checking in with her chat. Jolene, so nice to see you again, my dear. I cannot tell you how amazing it was to see a few of you guys in that line today. I got in trouble. I got yelled at because I was holding you up too long talking to you. And of course, so sad that I missed some of you. That makes me a little sad. Hey, Layla. I got to see Layla today. Emma, I didn't get to see you. That would have made me so happy. Same Grace. I did get to see Olivia. Claire, I didn't get to see you. Josh, way to show up, man. You told me you were going to, and here you are.
Man of my word.
Word. Yes. Awesome. Okay, well, hopefully we've got a few more folks going to join us today. I wish I would have seen you. I have my mini duck on your dashboard. That's wonderful. Harper, I don't believe you are the only person with a duck on your dashboard. I believe
I do.
Else. Tori does too. That's amazing. Oh,
his name is Henry, after Henry Clay.
Well, that's just wonderful. That's just, I mean, we can't beat naming a rubber duck Henry after Henry Clay. I think it's safe to say. You put the sticker from me on your phone. Oh, that's nice, Autumn. I see it. A way to tape it back on. I've actually taped my phone case on my phone because it broke. And I went to get a new one, but I don't know what kind of iPhone I have. I do now, but I didn't in the store. That's how good I am with technology, guys. No, but what I wanted to tell you is one of my former students from Kel, I mean, like way back, sent me a message saying that his girlfriend had rubber ducks that she was getting rid of, and did I want them? So of course I went and got them. There's a bunch. It was really cool. Yours is Tuck because he's sitting on top of a turtle, a duck mixed with a turtle. That's smart, Harper. I like that. Grace, yours is on your shelf in your room. Yay. That's so fun. So fun.
Mine's right here.
Oh, hi, Audrey's duck. Yay.
This is my other one.
Cute. There's one. Yeah, they're just all around.
Scattered around my house.
Willow likes to play with some too. I have a bunch of extras. Sometimes I'll bring one home. And she does have one of the president ducks that she favors that she plays with. So that's kind of funny. Okay, so I guess, should get started. Miss Minnick and I are planning, okay. How many of you saw the update I sent last night with the 20 things you have to do from College Board? Did you see that? It's ridiculous. I hope that they're not taping me saying this, but it's ridiculous. For me to adequately do what I'm supposed to do, it's going to take me like 7 or 8 hours to prep. So I am teaming up with the best of the best the one, the only Hillary Minnick. And she and I are going to host a joint Zoom on Friday at 1 to answer all of your College Board questions as best as we possibly can. So I know some of you guys have Miss Minnick for a teacher right now. Is that correct? Do any of
Yeah, I do.
Dale does, Allie does. Oh, Casey, that's sweet, honey. Okay, so that's wonderful. So we'll try and do that Friday at 1. Okay. And I don't know if I'm gonna go over to her house or she's gonna come over here. We're not gonna be 6 feet apart, everybody. Just if you wanna yell at me, that's fine.
Miss Eder.
Yeah, Tori, are you yelling at me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did you put that information that you were just talking about?
I think I can show you. Let's try going to the share screen. Oh, good God. There's so much crap here. Show all windows. I have like 80 windows open. Advanced, I don't know. Okay, so Allie, I don't see it at right here. So if you go onto Schoology's page, there is, under our course, there is a folder that says College Board material, and it's the last of the posts on there. It's a discussion post that says everybody must do this before they take the exam.
Okay, I see.
I'm kidding, sweetheart. I think there's like 9 or 10 things there.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It is a lot. It's daunting, right? Especially seeing as though I got this email yesterday and our test is on Monday. Not better. Not better. See, I'm happy and I'm smiling. Whatever. It is what it is. I'll look at it and try to save you guys some time. I'll do my absolute best. Yes, Autumn, it is fine. Emma, I'm with you. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. All right. Well, why don't we dive into the judicial branch and civil rights and liberties now? And listen, while I have you guys here, since you are here and I value you. Oh, and by the way, I didn't say hi to Claire and Elaine and Melody. Guys, girls, people. When would you like for me to give you the timed FRQ that we're going to go over in Thursday's Zoom? Would you like for me to give it to you on Thursday, have you upload it on Thursday, and then we discuss it immediately? Or would you like me to give it to you tomorrow? I don't think I'm supposed to do that. What do you want? Do you want it, let's say if we Zoom at 2, you want me to give it to you at 1? And you have to load it?
How is it going to be timed? Like, is it?
Harper, what I'm thinking is I'll release it on Schoology, like I'll send out an update to you guys. And when I send it out, that's when you'll open it, you'll start your time, and 25 minutes from then, actually 30, because you have 5 minutes to upload it, you'll need to submit it to turnitin.com.
So we're doing the argumentative essay, correct?
Yes, my darling.
Okay.
So would you guys like me to give it to you kind of right before the Zoom? Would that be best?
Yeah.
Okay, tell you what, I need to look at a couple of them to help us out. I mean, I'll take it too, and we'll use mine as an example as well. I'll just, do it real quick.
Is that for first semester too, or is it just second semester?
So Shale, sweetheart, it's not something that you have to do by any means, but it would probably be a good idea just to attempt it, you know what I'm saying? Since that's what we're going to have to do on Monday anyway. So it's really open for everyone.
Okay.
Okay, Pumpkin. So what about if I give it to you guys at noon? Are you all up by noon? Oh, y'all are cute. So cute. I was up at 5 this morning because that's when Wyatt woke up. Oh, Renato sometimes. Okay. I'll give it to you at noon. And then it needs to be submitted to turnitin.com at, I'll have to submit it a little bit before noon. I guess I can do it from my parents' house. That's fine. So I'll give it to you at noon. Sorry. And it will need to be uploaded on turnitin.com. And there's a timestamp on turnitin.com by 12:30. And then I'll take a look at a few of them. And then we'll go over it at the Zoom at 2. Is that okay? Okay. My loves, did you look at the video that I made regarding the other FRQ option? I see some heads shaking yes. And if you're not shaking your head yes, please do take a look at that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it took a while to do, but I know I canceled that Zoom meeting, so that's my fault, but I think it's worth you looking at. I really attempted to explain what would have gotten credit and what would not have gotten credit as best as I could. So it might be a good idea just for you to take a look at that. It's not, I'm sorry, backtrack. It's not, it's might be a good idea. It's a good idea. Okay. All righty. Okay. So Thursday at noon, I'll give you the FRQ question. Okay. All right. Let's look at the judicial branch, shall we? Now, you know, I've really been thinking quite a bit as to what the heck they can ask you guys in that second FRQ that could come from Unit 1, Unit 4, Unit 5, according to them. And my thinking is it's going to be something having to do with the branches. And a good thing that would incorporate all the branches would be checks and balances. You know, that would be a good thing. And so if it asks you about policy-making process, that's a wonderful time to throw in some of your vocabulary that we went over yesterday with the legislative branch and the executive branch. And by all means, don't forget to check out Tori's, Quizlet? Is that what it's called? Quizlet? Quizlet?
Yeah.
It's funny because it's not a Quizlet. It's like a mega quiz because aren't there 200 something terms?
219.
Yeah,
to be
so 219 to be exact. So not really like a let, but that's fine. That's fine. It's the website name. And something that you could throw in from current news, if you would like to, is the fact that the Senate went back to work yesterday. The House is not back to work. They have postponed. And since we have a bicameral legislature, that's their prerogative. They have the ability to do that. And mostly the reason why the Senate went back to work, Mitch McConnell was saying, was to exercise oversight. And I know oversight got brought up yesterday. And we talked about how oversight is often when Congress might adjust a federal agency's budget. But what the Senate is planning on doing with their oversight now is looking into how the money that they've allocated to different businesses or groups to deal with COVID-19 is being spent. Okay, so oversight can also be congressional hearings. So they're going to be having quite a number of those. So for example, a number of the factories and manufacturing businesses that have been given money to start producing a vaccine, if one becomes available, they might look into how they're spending that money right now. You get what I'm saying? Okay. And so then you could bring up the federal budget, talking about that as well, with the president's involvement with the federal budget, the bureaucracy's involvement with the federal budget, with the Office of Management and Budget that helps the president prepare it. You could talk about how all the bureaucratic agencies have bureaucratic discretion as to how they're going to implement the laws and then use the money to do so. And then, of course, you could talk about the judicial branch with looking at governmental action and determining whether or not it's constitutional. So that's kind of where I'm thinking they might go with one of those questions, okay? And that would probably be FRQ2. But guys, I am pulling that out of thin air, okay? It's just a guess. It's just a guess. Okay, so let's talk about the judicial branch. And I just think it might be a good idea to throw out some terms and ensure that we understand how they fit with that branch and how they can apply to the other branch. So how are you guys with jurisdiction? Don't forget, peoples who, your little screens aren't working, you can always throw up that emoji of a thumb, right? So, you know, do that. Let me know you're alive. Let me know that you're not just logging into your computer and walking away, making me think that you're here. I mean, that doesn't help anybody. Alrighty, so jurisdiction. When we're talking about jurisdiction, I think you might see two kinds. Anybody know what they are?
Original and appellate.
Correct. Very good. Original means you're hearing a case for the first time. Appellate means you're hearing a case for the second time. So in looking at the breakdown of the federal courts, we have a 3-tiered federal court system. What are the lower federal courts? Do you guys recall?
District courts?
Very good. Our district courts. There's around 94 of them. They hear 80% of the federal caseload, 80%, like 300,000 cases a year. And please do keep in mind that even of those cases, only 2% go to trial. 2%. That means they've reached plea bargains. That's nuts. Nuts. Anyway, so the Supreme Court, they do have original jurisdiction over some matters. I mean, they're few and far between, like cases that involve ambassadors, etc. It's only about 2 to 3 cases that they hear a year. Most of the cases get to the Supreme Court through the appellate jurisdiction, right? Speaking of cases getting to the Supreme Court, sorry, going to mark out things as we go over them. How do cases reach the Supreme Court?
Writ of certiorari.
Very good. Let's talk Latin, shall we? Let's talk a little bit of Latin. Good. Okay, so Tori just told us writ of certiorari. Or listen, if you don't want to be nervous and spell certiorari, you can say writ of cert. Cert, like the breath mints, C-E-R-T. Does anybody happen to recall what that translates to?
Send it up.
Yeah, exactly. Or I mean, close enough, yes. So it's an order to a lower court to send up the case and the records to the Supreme Court. The lower court listened to it. The Supreme Court goes, you know what? We need to hear that. We need to hear that. Or what's another way the case can reach the Supreme Court besides its 2 to 3 cases on original jurisdiction?
In forma pauperis.
Ooh, look at you, more Latin. And Autumn agrees with you. So in forma pauperis, in the form of a pauper, that's an appeal to the Supreme Court on behalf of a person who cannot afford to do that. And so some cases do, or petitions, I guess I should say, do get to the Supreme Court that way. Very good. You guys recall about how many petitions there are to the Supreme Court a year?
3,000.
Autumn says a lot. What'd you say, 3,000? That's a good guess. Times it by 3.
30,000. No, 9,000. Sorry.
Math, it's okay. It's not my strong suit. Although I think it is yours, actually. Yeah, I mean, that's 9,000. That's a large amount of petitions. They can't do that, y'all. They cannot do that. So they hear about 10% of the cases that reach them a year, anywhere from 70 to 90 cases. And oftentimes, how those cases get to the Supreme Court is the rule of 4. The rule of 4. It's exactly what it sounds like. 4 of them have to agree to hear the case. What is the ideological makeup of SCOTUS currently?
Conservative, 5 to 4.
Yep. So yeah, and Autumn agrees with you. So yeah, excuse me. Sorry. So yeah, you've got 4 liberals, 5 conservatives. So even if the liberals want to hear something and the conservatives do not, it can still reach the Supreme Court that way, okay? Right. Since we're on Latin, do you want to go with the other Latin phrases? Wouldn't hurt, right? Does anybody recall either of the other 2?
Amicus curiae brief.
Corpus. Stare decisis.
Very good. And Amanda, I heard yours too. All right, so Caroline says stare decisis, which is like star with an E on the end, and then decisis. Caroline, do you happen to recall what that translates to?
I can find it in my notes.
Let the decision stand. I got her.
Oh, Caroline, your friend is supporting you. Don't worry, sweetie. It's fine. Yes, let the decision stand is what it means. Autumn agrees with you. Autumn says it's enough Latin for one day. It is a dead language after all. Yes, Emma, so much Latin. And they do talk fast, Harper. You're right. Yeah, so stare decisis means let the lower court's decision stand. So the Supreme Court is not going to look at it. Okay, they're going to let it stand. Amicus curiae briefs. please make sure you add in the third word, briefs, because if you just say amicus curiae briefs or amicus curiae, you're like, what? The brief is the most important part. An amicus brief, what does that translate to? Almost done with Latin.
Friend of the court.
Very good, Audrey. Friend of the court. And who is usually, and Elaine agrees with you, who is usually filing those amicus briefs?
Isn't it interest groups, lobbyists?
Yeah, very good. So lobbyists on behalf of interest groups. Excellent. Autumn agrees. Grace agrees. Elaine agrees. Good job, Riley. Good job, Audrey. So when the interest groups file those amicus briefs, they're doing a few things. Number one, they're letting the SCOTUS members have all the information they could want and more. Number two, they're being a little bit more specific with the SCOTUS members to try to explain to them how their own members will be impacted by this and to maybe influence them to vote a certain way, thinking about the consequence that their members will experience, right? Perhaps, Clarence Thomas didn't think about this, or perhaps Elena Kagan didn't consider this point, even though their law clerks probably did. But they're filing it in the hopes that these people will look at this and go, okay, you're right, we'll vote another way. All righty, Amanda, you mentioned habeas corpus. That's good, we'll go there in just a little bit, okay? All righty, and once the cases are at the Supreme Court, this is kind of cool. Do you guys know what you could have listened to and what you can actually listen to for the next 2 weeks on C-SPAN involving SCOTUS? Some of you are saying yes. Good. Tell me.
Oral arguments. And Clarence
Boom.
Thomas talked yesterday.
I know. I saw that because he never does that. I mean, usually people are like, did he say something? Did you hear that? I just want to make sure it wasn't just me. Yeah. So that's interesting. They were looking at a case involving the website booking.com and trademarks and stuff. So, check that out if you guys want to. But yeah, so oral arguments are really interesting. Technically, you don't have to allow oral arguments, but SCOTUS has for a very long time. And that's where each side has 30 minutes to present their case to SCOTUS. 30 minutes. Isn't that nuts? Especially for those of you who did presentations on court cases. That just lets you know that so much of the material is in the briefs. So much. I think that's nuts. It's boiled down to 30 minutes. Anyway. Okay. I believe I jumped around a little bit. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. But while we're on SCOTUS, let's continue just a wee bit. How many members of SCOTUS?
9.
9. Good job. Who can change that number?
Congress?
Yes, Congress can. Death, says Renato. Yes.
You want to pass the court?
Yeah, Grim Reaper can come. Yeah, so Congress can change the number, not the president. Sorry, FDR or candidate Pete Buttigieg. Yeah, you can't do that. Only Congress can. And they did. They upped the number, but it's been 9 for a very long time. The only time that it is less is like Renato said when death's door has been knocked on, or if somebody is retiring. Okay, so the 9, whenever we see things like a 5-4 ruling, those are called opinions, okay? What are the different types of opinions that we could be asked about on Monday?
Majority, consenting, and dissenting.
Very good. Potato, potato. I knew what you meant, honey. Don't worry. Yeah, and Autumn agrees with you. So majority in a 5-4 decision, that's the 5. Dissenting in a 5-4 decision, that's the 4. So then what the crap is concurring?
It's when they agree with the majority but for a different reason.
Correct. Good. So if somebody is a member of that 5-4, and look, Autumn agrees with you, Tori. If somebody is a member of that 5-4, but they think the majority opinion author did not include something that they feel very passionate about, they'll write their own opinion saying, I agree with the majority, but I have this reasoning specifically for doing so. So that's a concurring opinion. Very good. Can other justices sign a concurring opinion? Yeah, they can sign as many as they want to. They really can. Okay. Ooh, something else I failed to mention. Impeachment can also make the Supreme Court have less than 9 judges, but that's, no, hasn't happened. All right, judicial restraint versus judicial activism. Don't answer yet. Write in the comments what you think it is. That way we've got a lot to go off of. If you want to just tackle one, just tackle one. Chase, I don't think I said hi to you. Hi, Chase. There you are. Don't take your video away. It makes me sad. I'm just kidding. You don't have to do anything you're uncomfortable with. Although I'm guessing you guys wouldn't like it if I took my video away, would you? It'd be boring. Yes, Elaine, I can repeat the question. Tell me what you think judicial activism is and judicial restraint is. And then anything else you'd like to throw in about the terms. There we go. Okay. These are good. These are good. All right, so Riley, restraint is following the precedent, correct. Activism is setting a new precedent, correct. Josh, keeping things the same, very good, versus new policy, absolutely. Olivia, conservative or limited power ideology, great way to look at that, yes, versus liberal or bolder ideology, yeah, sure, you betcha. Harper, restraint, the court should defer to the elected branches, nice, absolutely. Nicole, not wanting to overturn rulings is restraint, excellent. Activism is wanting to take action, very good. Tori, Earl Warren does love judicial activism. Yes, he does. I mean, he is the one who is responsible for the unanimous decision in Brown versus Board of Education. And guys, Brown versus Board of Education is an excellent example of judicial activism. Restraint staff, judges aren't elected, so they should limit their power, very good. And Harper, activism, the court should overrule the other branches when they're wrong. Y'all, I mean, yes. Boom, all those knowledge bombs. Very, very good. Something else that you could add to that, judicial restraint, they're really focused on what the framers' intent was. Some people call it originalism. You might see that term or hear that term in the news, looking at the original intent of the framers versus the activists attempting to correct some social injustices. And that definitely does involve the courts being more engaged and more active in doing so. Why am I saying that Brown versus Board of Education is an excellent example of judicial activism?
Because there were Jim Crow laws in place that no one did anything about, and they overturned their own precedent with Plessy.
Very good, Tori. Yes, whenever there's overturned precedent, that's huge. Yeah, Renato, they did change the status quo. And I mean, that's what they were attempting to do, correct injustices. Earl Warren said that separate but equal is inherently unequal. So therefore it's wrong. It's just all wrong. Okay, good job, y'all. You're owning this. Okay, so how they get there, how somebody gets to SCOTUS, what are the qualifications?
None.
Wyatt could be a member of the Supreme Court. Allie, Autumn, Audrey, because you're in a row on my computer, you could all be members of the Supreme Court. And to be quite frank, I would support each and every one of you being on the Supreme Court because you're just all fabulous. But probably not right now, right? I mean, I don't want to do it. Allie, Autumn, Audrey, do you want to do it? Right now?
No.
I plead the fifth.
No. Does anybody even on here want to go to law school? Who wants to go to law school? Let me see you.
I would if I didn't have other,
Higher aspirations?
Yeah.
Audrey, you want to? That's awesome. I definitely more school. Anybody else out there want to flash a thumbs up if you're a law school person? It's a lot of school. It's a lot. It's a lot. Maybe Riley? Well, Audrey and Riley, you'd both be phenomenal at it. Guys, I mean, you know, I'm starting school with you, right? I'm starting my specialist, and I'm dreading it. I actually start on June the 1st. I couldn't even register correctly, so I'm really hoping that's not setting the tone for me. It's not good. It's not.
Yeah, Miss Minnick says it's horrible.
I know. And she's a semester ahead of me in the program, Allie. And I mean, guys, education, graduate school is just such baloney. Anyway, forgive me. I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to express opinions, but there's one. Okay. All right. So there's no qualifications. Oh, thank you, Nicole. That's very kind. No qualifications, right? How long are they there for?
Ever.
Forever. Forever. Lifetime tenure. Now, that's an interesting concept. Okay. And I appreciate your concepts, Elaine and Autumn and Harper. That's true. What does lifetime tenure allow SCOTUS to do?
Not have political, like try to have as little political views as possible and not be influenced by politics.
Excellent, Allie. Very good. So they don't have to be influenced a ton by public opinion and by the political climate of the time. Very good. What else, guys?
They're insulated, like Allie said.
You're right. Yeah, they are insulated. Perhaps I need to reword that. So what else contributes to that political insulation, Allie and Tori, besides lifetime tenure?
They don't have to worry about re-election, so they don't necessarily have to focus on what the people want. They can just focus on what they know is best.
Excellent, Riley. Very good. They don't have re-elections looming around the corner, right? Good. I almost said zooming. That was Freudian. What else allows them to be politically insulated?
Aren't there like what's the word? Their salaries aren't they fixed so like Congress can't slash their budget to like make them vote a certain way that they want to?
Yes, Nicole. They cannot be intimidated out of office by having their salaries lowered. Good. Yeah, and so guys, in a sense, they can make their own agenda. Okay. So all of this contributes to their political isolation, which is cool. Which Federalist paper talks a lot about SCOTUS and the Judicial Branch?
78.
And what does it say?
That's like the least important branch.
It's not as dangerous.
By nature, it's the weakest branch.
Yes.
Dangerous.
Yeah, you're right. It is the weakest branch, it's the dangerous branch. Good. Good. All righty. What else did I want to talk about with you guys? We touched on this earlier. So do you recall which article gives the judicial branch their power?
3.
Very good. Very good. So it's 3, right? It goes Congress, executive, judicial. Okay. Really, all that Article 3 mentions is SCOTUS. So it's not until a couple of years later that Congress passes the Judiciary Act of 1789. And guys, that is a piece of legislation I would know about, okay? So the Judiciary Act of 1789 establishes our 3-tiered court system. District, appellate, and SCOTUS, right? That's what it establishes. So I would really know that if I were you. And the concept of judicial review is solidified 4 years later in what Supreme Court case?
Marbury versus Madison.
That's absolutely right. Thank you, Audrey. So let's keep that in mind. Very important case. Yes, your man, John Marshall, Autumn. Absolutely. If you know one Chief Justice, he's the one to know. Longest serving, really helping the federal government gain more power. Gibbons versus Ogden, McCullough versus Maryland. Good, good. Okay. Honestly, that's what I wrote down for the judicial branch. Is there anything that comes to mind that you would like to ask about for the judicial branch? Okay, okay. Powers over other branches. Josh, so if you are going to be talking about checks and balances, really the check that the judicial branch has, I love that we're debating historical boyfriends on the chat here. This makes me really happy. You really are just going to talk about judicial review, because when the courts can check the executive power, they can do so by declaring presidential actions to be unconstitutional. In checking legislative power, they can determine legislative actions to be unconstitutional. So those are the ones that I would focus on. And Autumn, hey, you know, different strokes for different folks. Taft does it for you. I mean, there's a lot of bigger men out there, sure. Okay. You're welcome, sweet. All righty. Can we look at civil rights and civil liberties pretty quick? Yeah. He's your spirit animal. Isn't that interesting? You want to be a Chief Justice too? All right. So it would be a good idea to know the difference between the two, don't you think? Civil liberties and civil rights. If you can just think of civil liberties and Bill of Rights as going hand in hand, that'll be helpful. Okay. Yes, Harper, can't forget JFK. And if you think about civil rights, I really think it's a good idea to think about the civil rights movement. Okay. These are so funny. This is hilarious, this chat here. I'm getting distracted. Much like yesterday, I got distracted when Dr. Ritchie sent out an email for Teacher Appreciation Week. Do you guys know it's Teacher Appreciation Week? What was it called? Nothing Bunt Cake is giving teachers a free buntlet. It's called a buntlet. And so, I mean, guys, I think they're $5, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to drive to Kennesaw to get my free buntlet for $5.
They're so
had those?
They're so good.
Allie, they're fantastic. Which one's your fave?
I get the gluten-free one, so.
Oh. Well, I'm sure they're delicious. Mellow Mushrooms gluten-free pizza is good. I've had it. Harper, you think Red Velvet? It's pretty on point. Have you, oh, Melody agrees with you. Has anybody had the cookie dough one? Riley? Yes, yes. Confetti, ooh, Olivia. Y'all, okay, forgive me. I don't get to do this with you because I don't get to see you in class. I got, Casey, change that, go get some. I got Oreos at the store, and y'all, the freshman 15 is being overtaken by the COVID-19 right now. I know you guys have heard this. I'm having a hard time. I'm just at home, and so I'm doing a lot of pantry eating. Does anybody else do pantry eating? I mean, I stand there, I don't leave the pantry, and I scan. What can I have that looks good? And so I'm buying things at the grocery store that I wouldn't normally buy. Don't worry, I'm not gonna go on this rant much longer. And so I bought a pack of Oreos, which I don't think I've ever done. I don't think I've ever bought a pack of Oreos before. But, Olivia, they were Funfetti Oreos. And they were delicious. So I ate a lot of them. And I'm embarrassed to tell you guys about this, but I'm who cares? I'm doing it anyway. I don't have willpower. It's just not something I have when it comes to sweets. I just don't. And so I ate more one day than I should have. So I decided I needed to throw them away. But the problem with throwing Oreos away is, you know, you've got that fold down thing that keeps them nice and fresh and maybe trash wouldn't get on them. So it wasn't enough to throw them away. I had to destroy them so I couldn't eat them further. So what I did is I poured mayonnaise in the package and shook it up. This happened. Thank God Sean wasn't home because he would have made so much fun of me. But I poured mayonnaise in the package and shook it up, kind of like when you pour salad dressing in a salad and you shake it up to get the dressing evenly distributed. And so that way I couldn't go after the Oreos. And I did not eat the Oreos out of the trash. I'm quite proud of myself. So thank you, Renato, for double checking on that. I did not have a mayonnaise Oreo. Autumn, you demolished some Cheetos, huh? Puffs? Willow likes those. They're very good. I'm glad, Nicole. I'm glad. You guys make my day. Raw cookie dough? Harper, are you buying the edible raw cookie dough or like the raw cookie dough that says don't eat it? Because I kind of view that like speed limits. It's a suggestion. A bucket of it? Oh, God. The salmonella roll. It was a good story. Good, Elaine. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Let's continue. Okay. So civil liberties. It's hot in here. Like I said, think of the Bill of Rights. So when you think of civil liberties, I want you to think of things that protects you from the government. Okay. And so that's why we're thinking of the Bill of Rights, correct? Because the Bill of Rights gives us all of these freedoms and liberties essentially from the government. And they're all things that the British denied us when we were under colonial rule. And the First Amendment, I'm not making fun of your diet pumpkin pie. And the First Amendment is a great example of that because it gives us 5 of those civil liberties. What are they? Rattle them off. Oh no, did I freeze? What are the 5 civil liberties from Amendment 1? Did I freeze?
Freedom of
I'm unstable. I froze. I'm sorry. Thanks, Grace.
You're back now.
Amanda says assembly, speech, religion, press.
Petition.
Petition.
Petition. There we go. We got them all. Good job, y'all. So right then and there, those are things that protect you from the federal government. The federal government cannot censor you. You can write what you want. You can congregate together when you want.
not right now.
I know, Allie, I was hoping somebody would bring it up. And that's why this is such a problem in America, because our culture is so focused on as much liberty as we can possibly have. We don't take kindly when the government tells us we can't do things and our actions are limited. Okay, so the Bill of Rights. Now, do me a favor. The Bill of Rights are protections for us from what government?
Illinois.
Which one? I froze again. Stupid technology. Bah! Am I back? Am I back? Am I back? Am I back? Yeah, okay, okay. Sorry. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Elaine. Okay, so the Bill of Rights protects us from which government?
Federal.
Federal, thank you. What extended the Bill of Rights to also pertain to state governments?
The Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment.
Yay, 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 correct. The Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment, because it says that states cannot deny you your rights of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And what do we call that process of applying the protections from the Bill of Rights to extend to state governments as well?
Incorporation.
Incorporation.
Very good. What kind of incorporation?
Elective.
Incorporation.
Yay, select, because it's gradual. It doesn't happen all at once. In fact, it most recently happened. Which amendment was the last amendment to be incorporated?
Second.
That's correct. Thank you, Audrey. I saw you, Stephanie. Yes, it's the Second Amendment. And what was that case?
McDonald v. Chicago.
McDonald v. Chicago. Very good. Very good. Okay, so I'm so glad we understand that. Guys, I'm telling you, that would be good on the AP exam. That would be good. Okay. Now, let's look a little bit at some of the amendments in particular and make sure we understand certain parts of them, okay? Amendment 1, religion, 2 clauses. They are?
Establishment and exercise.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Autumn agrees with you. So the establishment clause basically means that the government cannot make any laws regarding an establishment of religion. Which Supreme Court case solidified that?
Engel v. Vitale.
Very good. Engel v. Vitale is the big one. That's okay, Autumn. Don't worry. I mean, technically, you could make that argument for Wisconsin v. Yoder as well, but I think it's better for the Engel case, okay? That one was prayer in school, right? How you cannot require students pray in school, or you cannot have a prayer read aloud in school to start the school day, even if it's optional, even if it's non-denominational. No. So then what did Wisconsin v. Yoder deal with?
Free exercise clause.
Very good. And why is that, my dear?
Because it was the state law to have them at school till 16 interfered with their exercise of their discipline because they were Amish.
Correct. They don't want their kids to go to school past the They don't want their kids to go to school past the 8th grade because it interferes very much with their religion. That's absolutely right. And then besides freedom of religion, we also have free press, right? Free press. If I were you, I would know which case for, oh, Harper, I'm sorry. I'll come back to that, I promise. Which free press case would be the case to know?
New York Times Co. v. US.
Correct. And I just realized I skipped the rest of the First Amendment. Whoopsie daisies. Yeah, so New York Times Co. versus the US, just think that involves censorship of a newspaper. And what do you call it when the government does not censor or wants to censor before the newspaper has published?
Prior restraint.
Restraint.
Very good. Very good. Yes, prior restraint. And that is something that is actually protected in the original Constitution. It's not even in the Bill of Rights. And so the government can't do that. That's that case. Now, very quickly, let's leave the First Amendment to go to the Second Amendment so we can talk about what Harper brought up. Yes. So Harper, what's so interesting about this Second Amendment case, the 2010 one that incorporated the Second Amendment, is that it came from the precedent set by Heller, DC versus Heller, because this police officer in Washington, DC wanted to own a firearm for his own use. Okay. And he could have one for his job, but he couldn't have one at home for, you know, self-protection. And he felt as though this was unconstitutional. And SCOTUS agreed with him. 5-4 decision, by the way. SCOTUS agreed with him and said the Second Amendment applied, yes, Nicole, directly to DC because DC is a federal district, okay? And so that's the Bill of Rights pertaining to protections from the federal government. And then once the Second Amendment was found to protect an individual right to own weapons, which it wasn't until 2008 by the federal government, states have their own deal. That's the federal government. That's when Chicago stepped in and Otis McDonald said, okay, now it needs to be incorporated and it needs to extend to states. And SCOTUS said, you're right. Good, good, good. I liked our side conversation going on. That made me happy. All right, back to Amendment 1 with free speech. We've got some different things that happen with free speech in terms of our civil liberties. Speech is not absolute. And sometimes if you're not even saying something, it can still be speech. Anybody want to give me any ideas?
Shank v. US.
Very good, Tori. And what, Caroline?
Like the whole idea of symbolic speech with the armbands.
Very good with Tinker versus Des Moines. Sydney and Autumn agree with you. All right, so Shank versus the U.S., where Mr. Shank was violating the Espionage Act because he was encouraging people to evade the draft, essentially. His free speech was not protected, and the Espionage Act was upheld because, according to Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes, what did Shank's speech create? Excellent. Clear and present danger. You cannot shout fire in a crowded theater. You cannot say gun in school. That creates a clear and present danger. Very nice. And then a couple of you mentioned the Tinker case, Tinker versus Des Moines. Those are the armbands. Yeah. Symbolic speech. You can actually express yourself without words, and that speech is protected. And you should know Tinker because it said you don't just shed your constitutional rights when you walk through the schoolhouse doors. Schoolhouse doors. You know, any of the entries into last, there's 1,000 of them. Okay, and then the other thing that you might see involving speech are libel versus slander. You know how you can remember the difference between the two?
Slander spoken.
Libel is written.
Excellent. Yeah, just use alliteration. It's not a bad idea. Slander spoken, libel written. And in order to prove that there's slander or libel versus or towards like a celebrity, you have to be willing to prove that the person had actual malice, which is very tough to do. Okay. I don't think you're going to see the exclusionary rule for the Fourth Amendment, but you know, you have to have a warrant to use something against a person in a court case. The Sixth Amendment, one of your 15 required cases that you must know that incorporated the Sixth Amendment is what? Right to counsel.
Gideon.
Gideon Wainwright. That's right. I met someone named Gideon the other day. Great name. Great name. Miranda versus Arizona is no longer one of your required cases, so I can't imagine you're going to see anything having to do with that. But that's, you know, the Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. You might see right to privacy, though. Involving what Supreme Court case?
Roe v. Wade.
Roe v. Wade. Absolutely. Where is privacy explicitly mentioned in the Constitution?
Nowhere.
Correct. 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 Just like the word equality is not found in the Constitution, or slave is not found. Nicole, why did they take it away? What away?
The Miranda versus Arizona as a required case.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. All right, so that's civil liberties. Civil rights, like I said, if you can think of the civil rights movement, that will be very helpful to you. Okay, and this also can involve the 14th Amendment, but a different clause. Civil liberties, you think of the Due Process Clause with the 14th Amendment. Which clause do you think about for civil rights?
Equal protection.
Equal protection.
Heck yes. Heck yes, y'all. Very good. The Equal Protection Clause. So Harper, if they ask about anything controversial, how do we keep your personal beliefs out of it? Don't. Put them in. Put them in. That's fun. Readers love that. You guys don't have to be like me. You can express your opinions up and down, left and right. Have a good time. Nah, you're fine, sweetie. Okay, so Equal Protection Clause, good. Civil rights are mentioned or alluded to, at least in the Declaration of Independence, when Thomas Jefferson stated that all men are created equal. He had John Locke's Natural Rights of Man fresh on his brain. But even though all men are created equal, what is not part of our political culture? What kind of equality?
Economic equality.
Economic.
Very good, Allie. Very good, Caroline. Know that. Economic equality is not a core American value. In fact, it causes a lot of discussion, a lot of frustration, right? Because we have equality of opportunity, but then we don't have a belief in economic equality. And so when you get into things like welfare and taxation, it's a whole cluster, you know what. Okay. The Supreme Court case that I would mention, if you're asked about civil rights, would probably be which one?
Brown versus Board of Education.
Oh, yes. Your judicial activism case. The case that overturned Plessy versus Ferguson, the case that really went after the Equal Protection Clause and used it against things like Jim Crow laws and things like segregation. It was also used to uphold the Civil Rights Act of 1964, that and the Commerce Clause. It was also used to uphold the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And those are two pieces of legislation that would be fair game, by the way. What did the Civil Rights Act of 1965 say?
Outlaw discrimination, segregation.
Excellent. In public places. Very good. Also in terms of employment. And is it just for minorities?
No.
No. It also pertains to women, disabled individuals, people who do not speak English as their first language. Okay. We also can see evidence of civil rights when we look at racial gerrymandering. Don't forget about the case Shaw v. Reno. We see it in the 24th Amendment, which got rid of poll taxes. What did the Voting Rights Act specifically get rid of?
Outlawed literacy tests.
Literacy tests, very good. And we can also bring up the concept of affirmative action. Now, no Supreme Court cases involving affirmative action are in your required cases, but, you know, mentioning affirmative action and how it's been upheld using the Equal Protection Clause. Bless you. Okay. That's all I wrote down. Is that okay? I cannot believe we are sticking at an hour with these things. I mean, it's pretty impressive. I mean, not to toot my own horn but it's pretty impressive. I don't know what kind of horn that was. It was like a flute horn, which is not a thing. It's not a thing. A flute is not a woodwind instrument, but it's a wind.
No, it is a woodwind. It's just not wood.
Okay.
It is.
It is a woodwind.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I thought you had to have a reed.
It's just, I forget why they say it's a woodwind, but I mean, you can't, it works with woodwinds better than it does with brass.
That
And I think
yes.
it has a cork, and I think that's what it is.
Oh, thank you for the education, guys. And look, everybody's,
Okay.
my folks are calling me out. It is a woodwind. Sorry. Well, do you guys have any questions about what we went over today? How are you feeling about this thing?
Oh, I have an unrelated question to the lesson.
Okay,
So
Jace.
today, the robe pickup or whatever it's called, gown pickup, were we supposed to get our diplomas? Because I saw a lot of people get those and I didn't get one.
No, sweetheart. We're not allowed to give those to you guys until you actually graduate.
It's a plaque that people ordered from Herff Jones, but it's not official.
Oh, okay.
I actually have a question about that too.
Yes, love.
So today I picked up the wrong gown. Caroline Mueller, I have her gown. I've returned it to Lassiter, but they don't have mine.
They
so
will.
I don't know how to contact her.
I can contact her.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Josh. I loved her haircut. Has anybody seen her? She looks fierce. It's awesome. I complimented her on it. But Amanda, so you think she has yours?
Yeah, because we have almost the exact same last name. So they gave me hers, and so she might have mine.
Okay. Thank you, Josh, for looking into that for Amanda. That's sweet, Pumpkin.
Oh, the same thing happened to me with Shivam because they accidentally gave me Shivam's gown.
Oh no.
But I went
Oh.
back and got mine, and I think they gave Shivam another gown, but it was the same size, so.
Oh no. Well, good. I'm glad you got that fixed, Shale. That's important, right? Yeah, I mean, when there's what, how many seniors are there? Are there 400 plus of you, right? Yeah. 512? There were 720 when I graduated. Too many, says Autumn. At least 3.
How many freshmen did we start off with, like when we were freshmen? Do you know?
It's always more, but I don't know.
We started with like 600
Like
something, I want to say.
650. Yeah.
600 something. Not everybody can
Oh, and
be Lassiter, you know?
during sophomore class meeting, they told us like 11 kids got expelled freshman year.
Wait, what'd they do?
Dum-dums. Being dum-dums, I'm sure. Drugs. Dum-dum things. Wow. Okay. Listen, so our next meeting Thursday, sorry, that's when we're gonna, don't worry, Harper, I know, sweetie. That's when we're gonna go over that FRQ. But listen, I need to appeal to you, 27 of you, 2 of you already left. Stay put for a second. Supposedly 220 people are taking this exam. So that means 10% of the people showed up to Zoom today. So let me first say, thank you. I hurt you. And I really do. It was so hard not to dive into cars today and just, accost people with a hug. It was very hard. But please, I know you are. But please, please encourage your friends to come to that Zoom on Thursday and on Friday because y'all, I mean, this is unprecedented times, okay? I don't know how certain things are gonna go, and I really think you would ask good questions and you would all benefit from the questions that you ask and the answers that Ms. Minnick and I can give you, okay? Has anybody watched any of the College Board stuff on YouTube? Some yes, some no. It's not all bad. You can give it a try. I've made some playlists on my YouTube channel that you can check out as well, and I'll continue to do that for some of these core concepts. But yeah, so 2 more Zooms. And then since your exam on Monday is at 4, it is at 4, right? Listen, you can't email me after it. You know that, right? And you cannot email me during it. You know that, right? And some of you have my phone number. You cannot text me during it. You know this, right? Or FaceTime me. It'd be really bad. As much as I would love to be there for you, feel free to print out a picture of me and put it right by there if that's desperately what you want. Yeah, no Zooming either, Autumn. But you just have to be careful, okay? They're trying to be sneaky. They're planting moles out there, guys. I mean, they're fishing for cheaters is what they're doing. So just, don't.
But isn't like the only way you can like cheat is if you talk to someone during?
Well, I think there's, oh, Caroline, that's a great idea. I'll do that. I think there's some other ways that they're going to attempt to catch people. And Riley, I think it speaks volumes for your character and mine that we don't know what they are.
Miss Etter.
Love.
I have a question just with like some of the security stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know they said you're still, even though I know it's not recommended, you're still allowed to open up another browser for like typing, or if you wanted to search engine, which I realize that's not going to help or anything, but like opening up a different browser, like that's not going to be like,
like you literally have to. They literally tell you
right.
that if you're going to type it, open up and have 2 windows going.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Yes, sweetheart.
Looking at sources or something, which I know you still can, but I just want to make sure.
Correct. You
okay.
have the correct understanding. Yes, Casey, you can have anything you want out. And wouldn't it be a great idea if you guys had a consolidated, say, note-taking guide or a consolidated, say, graphic organizer of those 9 foundational documents? I mean, that'd be helpful.
I really wish I had one.
For the AP exam study guide that we can get the points on the test, when do you want that?
I think I said Saturday at midnight. Doesn't that sound right? I think I said Saturday at midnight because I don't want you to
You want what at Saturday at midnight?
that study guide if you want it to replace a vocab quiz.
How do we go about doing a study guide?
Well, Chase, you can find it on Schoology. Yes, Casey, you can use your noggin, and you can use all sorts of information from these Zooms, from your notes, and just fill that out. Yes, Nicole, I find it silly too. Thank you, Caroline. All right, guys. Well, I guess it's time to go. You have to babysit every day until 1. Okay. Oh yeah, and you can't use Tori for notes. Sorry, Autumn. And
Sorry, guys, I will be unavailable, but you can text me after the exam and cross-check answers.
yeah, just don't do that with me, okay? Because we just can't. But listen, I'm telling you, as soon as all this stuff changes, we are going to have an AP GOPO like field day. You've seen The Office, right? When Dunder Mifflin has a field day, we're going to do one. We're gonna design t-shirts. We're going to do it. It's going to be fun. We'll have a water balloon, 3-legged race or something. I don't care. I just know it's going to be epic. And Miss Griffin's going to help me organize it. And it's going to be the GOAT of all things, because not being able to say goodbye to you guys in person is the worst. Oh, that's a fun idea, Harper. I like that. All righty. So who's going to come on Thursday?
I will.
Thank you, sweetheart. Who's going to bring a friend? Bring friends. Pressure the heck out of them, guys. It's good peer pressure.
Miss Eder, I think they're just watching the YouTube, like from the Zoom. Like, I think that's what a bunch of people are doing.
But it's not as fun, Layla.
So lame.
I'm just telling you.
I know, sweetie. And that's what you think, but really, if you look at the views on YouTube, no. All right, pumpkins, I'm going to let Casey and the Sunshine Band lead us out today. I adore each and every one of you. You're fabulous. You're fabulous. Bye.
Bye, Miss Eder.
Bye, pumpkin.
Have a good one.
Y'all too.